YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with another NFL offseason plan video. This one for the Green Bay Packers. I'm playing GM, making cuts, re-signing players, making big signings in free agency, and doing a 7-round NFL mock draft. Again, did this for every single NFL team. Almost at the end here. Only got a couple more to do, so check out the ones already on the channel. Full NFL coverage in season. Then we got free agency, NFL draft, combines coming up. We got it all. We got you covered. 2 channels. Please subscribe to them both. That new channel, you'll find a link in the description in the comments. You'll find a link for our Twitter and Instagram. Daily posts, always talking football and answering any questions on the Twitter. And then you're going to want to follow those for the combine coverage as well. Try to cover that live there while it's going on with some reactions. So must follows there. You'll find the links down below. And then something new we started, looking to add more to it, the Goat House podcast. You can search that on Spotify. At the time of recording this video, we're being reviewed for the Apple podcast, but should be up on there shortly. But we are on Spotify, looking to add more to that. Our Patreon, which you'll find a link in description, actually has a podcast in video form and plenty of other NFL content for members only there. First thing I like to do, evaluate the team, evaluate the depth charts, and then the guys in red are free agents. The Packers made it to the NFC Championship game this past year, looking to take that next step while they have this window of Aaron Rodgers, which I believe can still play at a high level, but yeah, it's some sort of a window. You know, it's not going to last forever, which is tough because the defense is getting better and better. So this is kind of the time. You know, they need receivers. They need receivers. We'll start at the top there. Love Devontae Adams. Hopefully, he can be healthier next year. I expect him to be. I mean, they have guys that can play. I kind of been preaching the same exact thing for the last few years, and people always say they don't really need that receiver. You know, they got Valdez-Scantling, but you know, I mean, these guys can play. Don't get me wrong. They need better guys. I think everyone's starting to realize it's becoming obvious now. They need more number ones. It's a passing league now. They need more number ones. I did like what I saw from Allen Lazard last year though for them, but they need more number. They only have Devontae Adams number 1. Offensive line. It's a very solid offensive line. Did struggle with the Niners both times they played them. Did have some injuries in those games though. You know they. I like Elgton Jenkins' pick. You know, he stepped up, was able to start, over Lane Taylor there, and I think that's good. It's good for the future. But they could, Brian Bulaga, the free agent, I think they would like him back. They could start to look out for offensive linemen of the future. You know, there's a couple different routes you can go with the Packers. We'll see the route I go in here in just a second, but they're very good at kind of retooling those offensive line and making sure they're set right when the other ones go out. So that's something to look out for. But I think the window closing somewhat for the offense, but it really could retool it and revive it, and not that it's really down or anything. They made it to the NFC Championship game, but make it as good as they possibly can. So I think with that being said, they could focus on more of the right now needs other than offensive line. Tight end, I kind of have a plan for them coming up. Hopefully a guy like Sternberger can start. But then looking at, they could be in the market for looking for the future quarterback. There's rumors about Jordan Love. I think they would have to trade way up for Love. I love Love a lot, really. I like the potential, the idea of him. Great situation if he would be able to sit behind Rodgers. Unlikely, though. And like I said, they may be in the market for more of the needs now. Love the running back group. I really like Dexter Williams out of Notre Dame, too. And we didn't really get to see him. So I love the running back trio there. Then looking at the defense, really took that step up. I think this defense has a chance to be elite. Things have to happen, but it has a chance to be elite. It starts with the pass rush, coming from the nose tackle position too. Love me some Kenny Clark. But the pass rush duos, Darius Smith, everyone knows that was my Defensive Player of the Year pick. And I think he'll continue to play at that level in this defense. So building around that, and I like the secondary as well, could use some depth, but building around that mainly at the inside linebacker position and the DN positions really could make this defense take the next step, which could be big time for them. So moving on to the cuts, Jimmy Graham. I said I had a plan for the tight end position, and here it is so far. I'm going to cut Jimmy Graham, save $8 million. Just been a little underwhelming. He'll come up clutch here and there, make some big catches, but doesn't really want to be involved in the blocking game. It does have some drops. I know a lot of them they're always tough catches, but you expect them to catch it. Seems like it happens a lot the last couple of years. Then Lane Taylor, who's now, I believe will be a backup and pretty solid one, but $4.6 million on the line there. You could cut him. And yeah, $21 million is not a whole bunch for you wanting to take that next step. So cutting those guys, bumping it up to 33.6, we'll call it, pretty good. Won't be able to do a whole bunch with that, but can make those very few steps they need to take that next step to maybe the Super Bowl. And then re-signing Brian Bulaga is very important to this team, this offensive line. So I'm definitely re-signing him. Does a very good job of keeping the pass rushers inside, allowing Rodgers to roll out to the right a lot. I don't know if anybody does it better, really. So I think it's important to get him back. The only downside of him, you can pay him some money, and then he could get hurt, at any time. That's the unfortunate the unfortunate part of it. But maybe the guarantees aren't a whole bunch. And then Jared Veld here is I think a very good backup left tackle. So cheap, bring him back. And Al Lazar, like I said, I liked what I saw from him. I thought he fit this offense, that big body receiver. And I would like him back here, but he has exclusive rights free agent, so he'll probably be back by default anyways. But just kind of wanted to point that out that I did, I like him as a rotation guy. It's always good to have one of those big body receivers still in today's NFL, even though it's mainly about the speed. But could bring him back, but you still want to upgrade that number one receiver position along with Devontae Adams. Like I said, I think you need multiple number one receivers. The major signings, I would absolutely love Corey Littleton in this defense. As you can see, I let Blake Martinez walk. I let Goodson walk. We're letting these linebackers walk. You can get better there. Martinez, maybe people are letting him have it a little too much. I think he's been solid for them. He has his moments, but you definitely can get better at the position, but maybe people are getting on him a little too much. But you re-sign him, or do you put that money into a much better player? Corey Littleton's going to be much, much better in coverage, which you need, and obviously very good in stopping the run. I put that money in Corey Littleton. This makes that defense a lot better, a lot better right away. It's a player on the rise here, good fit. So a lot of the cap space goes to that. Vernon Butler's a sneaky one. He was kind of known as a bust, somewhat of a bust for the Panthers. And then what did the Panthers do last year? They switched to a 3-4 defense for the first time in Vernon Butler's time there, and he had a career year. He had a big-time year. He got pressure on the quarterback, got after the quarterback. The Packers run a 3-4. They need 3-4 ends. I would like Vernon Butler there. I think he'll be somewhat on the cheaper side. I think that makes that D-line better. You need to find help for Kenny Clark there. And I think a slot corner is pretty damn important for them, for this year. I like their outside corners. I like, actually, obviously, the obvious one is Jair Alexander. I like Kevin King. I like what I saw from Kevin King last year. Obviously, he's not Alexander, but I like Kevin King. So I like the duo there. I like the safety duo for the future with Amos and Savage. I think they need a solid slot corner and TJ Carey. I guess a little bit of an off year with the Browns. This year, Browns were a bit of a mess, but in 2018, I actually thought he was one of the better slot corners in all of football. So a proven one here to add to that group. I would like that a lot. And obviously, after re-signing some players and signing a guy like Corey Littleton, you're a little short on the cap. So, guys like Vernon Butler and TJ Carey are starters, big impact players, but they're also going to be on the cheaper side because that's kind of what you need there. But then we go on to the 7th-round mock draft, and I'm glad Justin Jefferson was there because I absolutely love the fit, and they need another number one receiver with Devontae Adams. Kind of what they really need there is a guy that can kind of get open, find the open lanes, throughout coverages, and that's kind of what Justin Jefferson is. And why I say that is because I feel like there's other receivers that are using, like I said, some of these guys can play ball, but it feels like they're pretty much just run straight, just run to get open. Somebody tell me what to run. And you see all these times that Rodgers has to kind of extend plays, roll out a bit because, no one, the first, Devontae Adams may not be open. Devontae Adams was hurt sometimes this year, and he has to roll out, and he needs somebody to adjust the route, get off the route, get to the open lane, and that's a big problem. These guys just don't want to do it, a lot of the time. So that's something I noticed. And Justin Jefferson is the complete opposite of that. He's gonna be able to find those open lanes. He's gonna be able to work with. We've seen it so many times with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had to kind of escape the sack. The play was pretty much broken. And you see Justin Jefferson just cancel whatever the route was. Let's just go help my quarterback. That's what he does. And he's big in the red zone. He's a big play guy, very good after the catch. This offense gets a lot better with him. I like Bryson Hopkins as a Jimmy Graham replacement. I don't think you want another Sternberger in there. Hopkins, a little bigger body. What I like about him is so little things I like about him. When he does have some drops, that's what I don't like about him, but he does make some big crazy catches. But for the most part, I trust him to catch. But the little things that I like is something I noticed from the big time receiving tight ends in the game right now, which he's more than that. He can block. That's why I like him because Sternberger is more of that true receiving tight end. But keep getting sidetracked here. What I really like about Hopkins, little things, is when he catches the ball, it's instant. Like, he's out of his break, he's out of the cut, he's going. And that's rare with these tight ends these days. It's rare to see. And little things like that I like. I think it's a good Jimmy Graham replacement. It's a good pairing with Sternberger. Jason Strowbridge, who I love as a 3-4 defensive end. The Packers need more of that, and they grab one here. Too good to pass at 94. Add him with Vernon Butler outside of Kenny Clark. There you go. Adding another receiver. Now you got that big body receiver, but he's not just a stick him on the outside big body receiver. Can put him pretty much anywhere, pretty smooth in his route running. Brian Edwards from South Carolina, I think, will be a better pro than he was in college. Had some quarterback struggles there. So add him in there. And really, like I said, they have some other receivers that could play, but really, day one, I think your top 3 receivers, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, and Brian Edwards there. So you really get better at that area. I added Corey Littleton for them. You're going to need a cheaper option at the other inside linebacker position. Shaq Quarterman is available at 157 about a year ago. Projected first round, maybe at the latest second round. Miami was a complete disaster. Don't put the blame all on him, obviously. So some upside here is what I'm getting to. They need some offensive line depth, some guys that can potentially be starters if there's any injuries. Justin Heron from Wake Forest, and then Yasser Durant from Missouri. Some quality depth guys there. And then they need corner depth. They don't have much of it. Dane Jackson from Pittsburgh had a pretty good Senior Bowl. And then adding more to that linebacker group, like I said, Quarterman, could possibly be starting. If Oren Burks wants to step up. I kind of like that pick, but he hasn't been able to stay on the field, so we'll see. But you really need more. That can potentially play for you, but mainly depth. And Dele Harding from Illinois, who actually had a pretty big year. The Illinois defense really stepped it up this year. So really going forward after this in the future, I think the focus would be maybe finding the quarterback of the future, but more importantly, getting those offensive linemen, the next tackles up, which the Packers always do a very good job of doing, and that's why they could do it this year. But you're so close. You were so close last year, and you were missing those receivers, maybe some better play from the tight end position. Inside linebackers, Corey Littleton in this case, maybe pass rush with Kenny Clark from the D-line position, a guy like Jason Strowbridge. So getting those pieces makes this team very complete, and the defense could be easily a top 10, maybe a top 5 defense. So I like this plan for the Packers. Like that they have a bunch of picks here. Cap space a little tight, but for as good of a team as they can be, if healthy, it's a pretty good number. So they can make some things happen here. So curious to see what they do. We'll see where they put the priority. Do they put it on the inside linebacker? Do they put it at the 3-4 end? Do they put it at the wide receiver, the tight end? They could do any of those. It could really. Unlikely, but it could be on the future quarterback. It really could be. So that's why it's an interesting team here. See if they take that next step. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Please like the video, subscribe to both of our channels, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, check out our podcast. You'll find a link to all that in the description and in the comments of all the videos. Really appreciate you guys for being here. Thanks for all the support. That's going to do it for this one. Goodbye.